And we have a beautiful saying in Hebrew. The Jewish people kept the Shabbat, the 7-day Shabbat, and the biblical holidays, and the Shabbat and the biblical holidays kept the Jews, preserved the Jews.
I'm so pleased to introduce you today to someone I consider to be very wise. I've been following his writings and interviews for years. Joining me today is historian Dr. Gershon Nerel. Dr. Nerel has researched the phenomenon of Jewish believers in Jesus in the land of Israel, and he completed his research at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. In response to many comments on my videos, the question I'm bringing to him in this video is the people of Israel today truly the direct continuation of the biblical people of Israel?
We live now in the state of Israel. It is now 2024. We are in the middle of the war going on against all the enemies of the state of Israel. Actually, the state of Israel is fighting, is battling against 7 arenas, with 7 directions of attacks coming against the state of Israel. So when we talk about Israel, my understanding about the special place of Israel in history and why are 7 fronts in which Israel is fighting, attacking such a small nation in such a small piece of territory. Why? Why is Israel always in the focus? Why is Israel always interesting the world, not just in 1 minute or another minute? Why is the people of Israel, the land of Israel, in the focus of the nations? Why are they so much interested? Because Israel, in my understanding, has a special place according to the Bible. I believe in the Bible, in the Old, I don't like to say so much Old, but I prefer to say the Tanakh, the Hebrew Tanakh, which is the Torah, the Pentateuch, the prophets and the writings, and the New Testament. I believe in the Tanakh, in the New Testament, and from the content of the Tanakh and the New Testament, I can understand very clearly who is Israel, what is Israel, what is the task of Israel in world history. And I personally, according to the Bible, have no doubt that modern Israel is the continuation of ancient Israel, of biblical Israel. Of course, there is a gap of about 2,000 years that the Jewish people, that Israel was not in the land, that the Jewish people did not have sovereignty in the land, that the Jewish people are returning. We are still in the process of returning to the land. And this restoration, this return of the Jewish people to the land, in my eyes, is an absolute truth. It is a special fulfillment of prophecy. It is a special indication, a special message, both for the Jews and for the other nations, that someone is controlling history. Someone is directing the developments of history. And I believe that the people of Israel that were kept in the diaspora outside of the state of Israel, they were kept by the God of Israel, the Holy One of Israel, during 2,000 years. And now, during the past 200 years, they are coming back slowly. We are facing a very unique situation that now, during the ongoing war of the state of Israel, in 7 fronts, tens of thousands of Jews are returning to the land. during the wartime. This is an exceptional phenomenon. And this is a big miracle. And this is really the fulfillment of biblical prophecy that the God of Israel, the same God who chose Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he is bringing his people back to the land in spite of the war that is going on, in spite of the hatred. But anti-Semitism around the world is pushing the Jews to coming back to the ancient land of the fathers, of the patriarchs, of the prophets, of the apostles, of the first apostles of the Lord Yeshua. So this is a big miracle. And one argument of the enemies of Israel is that modern Israel is not the continuation of biblical ancient Israel. This is a misleading argument. This is a misleading saying, because the people of Israel were kept miraculously during 2,000 years for these times. And why are the Jewish people coming back to this land? Why is the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, bringing them back to this land? Because we are waiting for the return of the Messiah, for the coming of the Messiah. We have the big promise that the Lord Yeshua, who came the first time to this land, is soon going to come back to this land, to Jerusalem, to rule from Jerusalem on the world. And he will make a new world order. This is my deep faith that the Messiah, the Lord Yeshua, is coming back to rule for 1,000 years, the period which is called the millennium, 1,000 years. And he will rule from Jerusalem, and this will be the real messianic time, which the prophet Isaiah speaks about, the prophet Micah speaks about, details which we read about in the book of Revelation, that the Messiah will rule in the third temple from Jerusalem, and he will make new rules, new order for everyone. Not everyone will like it. Not everyone will like the rule of the Messiah in this land, in this earth. But I believe this is going to happen very soon as part of the fulfillment of the end-time prophecies. So these are great hopes, these are great expectations about the coming, the return, the second coming of the Lord Yeshua, and what will happen in this earth. In the book of Revelation, for example, we read that during the 1,000 years of the Messiah ruling from Jerusalem, Satan will not be free. Satan will be bound. He will not be able to tempt, to destroy people. It will be a new situation, a real new situation. And this, for me, is an amazing comfort in the big chaos in which we live today. We live in such a big chaos. We live in such a big hatred, in such a big confrontations between people, wars and fightings. But we have the messianic hope of the Messiah coming, ruling, setting new rules on this planet Earth. And then, after the 1,000 years, we have further developments which are clearly written in the book of Revelation. I do know that many people say that modern Israel is not the continuation of ancient Israel. They argue this because there were some assimilations, there were some mixture of Jews and non-Jews. But this is not troubling me. This is not a problem for me. Because, for example, when I read in the book of Exodus, in the Torah, in the Tanakh, that the people of Israel came out from Egypt, also all kinds of other people joined them. It was not just a pure blood of the Jews. And also today, even though, yes, there are mixed marriages, but those who join Israel, those who marry with the Jews, they actually pragmatically, they join Israel in the way that Ruth the Moabite did. They join the people, they join the land, they live here with the good and the bad in the country. But I think it is a huge miracle that the Jewish people were kept in the diaspora of 2,000 years. What kept them? The Jews kept the Torah. The Jews went to the synagogues. The Jews were reading the portions of the prophets on Shabbat. The Jews kept the biblical holidays. We have the biblical holidays in chapter 23 in the book of Leviticus, in the Torah, in the Pentateuch. And we have a beautiful saying in Hebrew. The Jewish people kept the Shabbat, the 7-day Shabbat, and the biblical holidays, and the Shabbat and the biblical holidays kept the Jews, preserved the Jews. And the Lord Yeshua, the Almighty, He made sure that Israel will be in a way kept separate. Israel, the Jews, were always kept separate because most of the Jews, they refused to assimilate among the nations. They kept to themselves, they kept their scripture, they kept their holy scripture, they kept their Bible. And they believed in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they never forgot Jerusalem. They always longed to come back to Jerusalem, to come back to this land. This is so much opposite to what we talk about the Arabs. They have the Arabs, surely the Muslim, they have no real connection to this land. We have a connections of about 4,000 years since the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to this land, the land of Israel, the promised land. This is the promised land promised by the Lord Jehovah to Israel.